kind of canyon is that?
Power here is a fiend that may look like your typical anime waifu created with the intent of fulfilling the community's sexual desires or solely for the purpose of sexual objectification, but in reality is a mentally ballistic and short-tempered tomboy with an opportunistic and dickish personality, seen in everybody's favorite fatso, or as I like to call it, the strong independent woman who doesn't listen to the orders of men even when they provide legitimate criticisms, in which she acts as the idol of all Karens. Zooming in, it is evident that Power here clearly detaches herself from the Homo sapiens branch, as the cranium is inhumanely petite, that even those I thought to be small are literal titans next to this feisty bitch here. This is alongside the beautiful but non-human mappa-styled eyes that excrete an excruciating amount of details that are successful in portraying the soul of the Japanese era Kaufman. And while the teeth may be solely carnivorous in nature, I've seen humans equipped with such armaments that it is more or less natural at this point. Oh, there's also these tiny horns that signify Power as more or less an idol to Karens. But besides the typical smirking face, there's also a laughing face that portrays Power's maniacal nature, as it's usually the face Power holds during battle to enjoy the scent of blood. And there's a smiling face but with a larger mouth to portray Power when she's in the moment of realization. Then there's your worried or distraught face, which is usually seen when Power's been caught doing something she shouldn't have, as portrayed through the clutched mouth and the sweat falling down the face. And finally, there is your shit I'm screwed face, with the straight up open mouth and a heavily emphasized forehead, in which the face is usually portrayed when Power is confronted by a threat in which she's out of her league. And the hair sculpt is neat, with each individual line having slight differences in color regarding the location, adding to that authenticity. When looking at Power's drip, she's more or less a hobo. The inner wear is more or less your typical Asian slave wear, which I've explained thoroughly about, so watch this video if you're curious about what I'm explaining right now. But the straightness is absent as Power failed to iron out her shirt, alongside half the shirt sticking out, clearly symbolizing her lack of social etiquettes, but may act in portraying Power's American nature. And then there's your hoodie, in which, while adding a layer of individuality to Power, as a contrast with the typical suit-wearing society of Japan, it also symbolizes Power's peasant nature, as she couldn't afford a proper suit, as she went all ham at Uniqlo. But a point to note is that the paint job happens to be a semi-shiny blue color scheme, which, while aids in Power sticking out, may be a turnoff to a certain portion of would-be buyers, as it does possess a slight unnatural outlook. But we can't forget about the all-encompassing
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
moving below the belt, as Power is a literal embodiment of the devil that is Eric Kaufman. Sexualization of the titular character was thrown out, in which the lower half is not covered in your typical transparent or bright panties, but instead 100% opaque cloth, which would be a deterrent for degenerates planning to do I don't know what to the figure. Hello, I'm one of those degenerates. Look at the legs, my disappointment is immeasurable. How could they do this? Not show any skin on those thighs! And the calves in it by themselves are anorexic, that I feel that I'm watching a K-drama. Wait. But I can't deny those footwear, as they have drip, while also increasing Power's height by a centimeter or two. But unlike Chainsaw Man, she doesn't go out making people infertile, so they do have less of an impact in comparison. When looking at accessory assortment, the Power is accompanied by which, when compared to Denji, is a significant step up, as besides the faces previously mentioned, the Ayo, their standard fist for fisting the weak, the groping hands for your good old Asian Sekahare, slightly open hands in order to use her bloodbending abilities, straight up open hands for slapping Power's underlings, your V hands in case there are any British nearby, and your holding hands for Power to wield her literal blood arsenals. Talking about blood weapons, there's your hammer that is useful when engaging enemies at close range with effective force. Then there are your dual-bladed knives that are suited for engaging either multiple targets at close range or dealing with a single, powerful, no puns intended, enemy. But I want to hold my chances. And finally, there is your oversized hammer that is usually seen when dealing with larger devils, but is a rare sight as I believe it was used only once in the anime. You can't talk about Power without mentioning the key that ties her to the world. And I have to admit, Nyako is pretty well detailed given the size of the accessory with all the extra wrinkles alongside the face that oozes high levels of kawaii. When regarding Power's stature, as a devil straight up from birth, Power grew up consuming plentiful amounts of protein, resulting in her retaining a somewhat tall stature, and definitely taller than the nutritionally deficient Denji. In doing so, Power here, even considering her sleek limbs and petite head, stands tall at 14.5 centimeters or 5.7 inches. Here's Power next to Gunpla, High Toys, Star Wars Black Series, Figmas, and SH Figuarts Chainsaw Man. As we've seen from my previous videos, when regarding SH Figuarts' posability, it can either be your angel or your devil, a leagues better than any American figure. With that said, hip movement is fine, but limited due to the long hair. The hair movement is connected by a ratchet joint, so the range is fair. Shoulder range is impressive as it can do the probably due to the butterfly joints enhancing the range. Double-sided joints allows the elbows to provide maximum range of movement. Standard hand movement. Leg spread is. The double-sided joints provides for a superb knee movement. The legs can also move sideways. Pretty good feet movement. And a very stiff toe movement. In conclusion, the SH Figuarts iteration of Power is a splendid release of the beloved character in the Figuarts line, as the superb sculpt, great range of articulation, numerous accessories, and a lack of any paint blotches make it top notch, and a vast improvement over the SH Figuarts Chainsaw Man. The only gripe may be the color scheme used on the hoodie, but still, I can clearly state that the SH Figuarts Power is a great figure that I would highly recommend and give her a ranking of an A.